I am Aviator Architect, and this is All the Mods 10 Aeronautics. So, yes, I may be still inside of my floating house that we got set up last episode with our aeronautics abilities. And thankfully, with the help of my slime boots, I'm able to jump down freely and not take fall damage, which is a very nice thing. Getting back inside of the airship, though, we can use our waystones, and this is going to play a very pivotal role today, as I do want to eventually make our house movable by the end of today's episode. Before we start working on any of that, there's a lot of things that I kind of want to get set up so that way things can be constantly running for us. And the first thing on the to-do list is getting myself an iron farm, or multiple iron farms actually. Now, in order for me to actually craft the iron farm, we're going to need lava, and one of the best ways to store up lava is to craft a mechanism tank. With this, I can hold down shift and scroll wheel and put it into bucket mode, and then right click to bind it to myself. Then we can pop into our map and we can start to look around for something like this, a lava pool. And as I'm on my way here, I might as well loot some of these chests. I mean, these do tend to have some really good things in them. And also, is that what I think it is? Oh my goodness, it is. First thing I want to do, I guess, with this is to break this open, because in the top of this Wilden Den, there's usually, yes, a ritual brazier. Just a free one, which is usually in the top. However, this place can be kind of scary depending on what mobs actually spawn inside. Yes, I have a bad feeling about this. I don't see anything yet. Aha, it's the wolf den. But we might be able to get up in here without these guys really bothering me too much. So long as the flying ones aren't in here, I think we're good. And so long as we don't go into the floor. Aha, I can pop in here and grab some special stuff. Vengeance Spirit, aerial bottles, ender pearls. I'm always down to take ender pearls. I tell you, this place is mighty loud with these guys all around, but yes, there should be chests all strung about. And I would love to take these guys out, but I have a feeling this is not going to be easy. These guys will drop some horns though, which I could use later on. And with that, I think the coast is nearly clear. Yeah, I just got to get these guys cleaned up. And that was not too bad. And we got 5 Wilden horn. And inside here, we got self-explosion. This is going to be, what is it? A sensitive and then a bunch of amplifies. It creates some sort of mage block sphere around you, I would assume. That's interesting, but more ender pearls, I'll take those. Another thing I might want, this actually casts lightning, which could be useful down the road. Now, ours is something that you definitely don't want to overlook. That caught me off guard. I thought that was a ghost, but it was an owl. Ours is something you don't want to really overlook, primarily because in this pack, you can become incredibly powerful with very special Ars gears from all the mods. Perfect. I've found the lava pool. So lava, I'm just going to temporarily name this for now. And like I said, I can just right click to pick up like 32 buckets. I believe this is what this holds. 32 buckets of lava, just right here at the start. Some other awesome things I'm going to need is, well, some sand. And I'm also going to need quite a bit of clay today. Perfect. Here's some clay. Back in our air house, I can now take the iron furnace and upgrade it to iron tier. And then also I would want to upgrade it to gold, I believe, too. So let's go ahead and upgrade it to gold. Actually, I should check my quest because we might get some bonuses here. It doesn't look like it. It does look like we have a lot of unclaimed rewards that could be beneficial. And it is nice that I can kind of go through the list here and kind of select what I want to grab instead of just grabbing everything all at once. There's a lot of these different loot boxes here too, which are kind of nice to take. Ooh, and this one could be very cool. It gave us an Eye of Ender, or a few Eyes of Ender, some diamond, more iron. I'll take all of that. More micro missiles. I mean, there's so many like random resources that we're getting from doing this. It's definitely worth taking. Even ones that just straight up give us steel. I'll take that. And here's a stone to iron furnace upgrade. Even quests that just give us glass. This new questing system area is so nice. But perfect. I now have myself a couple of furnaces. Now, ultimately, I need to get my hands on that iron generator, so having this and being able to smelt a little bit faster is going to be pretty nice. But ultimately, we're going to want an unlimited coal source too. So while I'm smelting this, I should probably also smelt up some clay blocks and some clay. Now, each iron farm is just going to cost a bucket of lava, and we can actually place this down, making sure you turn it out of bucket mode. And it may look a little bit janky in here, as you can only see 2 rendered faces, but we can actually use it, and it does function normally. Now for the fun part, just simply getting all of these guys placed in, and to get them to work, we place a villager in here along with them, and this should just make a regular old working iron farm, just in a really compact setting. Now, all of these noises, I'm definitely going to start to remove, and you can do that by going into your ESM menu here and just lowering things like zombie sounds. Now, this over time is going to produce a couple of different resources, and we can use something like this, a double spruce drawer. And that's because these are going to produce iron and poppies, much like a normal iron farm. And then we should also get into the pipes mod. Yes, and make ourselves some item pipes. It's probably going to be the easiest pipe for us to use. And you can hit tab, by the way, to refill your crafting grid whenever you're doing crafts like I just did. And regular item pipes are going to work very, very good for this. And I'm hoping that all does work very well inside of this like little contained area. So I'm going to place in my pipes, and then we need to use our pipe wrench, and we shift right click on these to set these into extract mode. And these should all extract from these once an iron golem is spawned in and killed, and should end up inside of this drawer. Aha, and perfect. We have iron golems that have spawned. A little tidbit of information, this should produce an iron golem every 4 minutes. So every single one of these have a 4-minute cooldown timer. And I think that works just fine. Look at that. I mean, 20 iron in 4 minutes. You can't beat it. Now with iron sorted, oh man, oh man, oh man, we get to start working on coal, and I want to create an unlimited fuel source. This is going to be really helpful because I want to start getting our ship moving. Sorry, not ship, house. Yes, house. Yes, our slow moving house base. But to really get everything moving, like having some sort of coal or unlimited fuel source is going to be really good. Not only for just moving our base, but also getting some basic power up and running here soon. The way that we can do this is by using botany pods. And thankfully we do have the add-on in here, which allows us to not only grow plants in here, but also trees. Now by default, these regular ones, they don't have like a base inventory. So to be able to get an inventory that we can mess around with, we're gonna need hoppers. And you know what? It's kind of funny. I just sort of made an iron farm. So making hoppers, not too bad. One unfortunate thing though, while this is on the ship, I can't actually interact with the drawers, it doesn't seem like. This might actually get me to sort of change, because what we could use instead of that kind of drawer is we could use a limited barrel from sophisticated storage, which works very much like this drawer right here. But instead, what we can do is place this in here, and I'm almost positive I can pull out of the internals of this. Mind, all of this is very experimental. Like playing around with all of these mods and getting them to kind of work together is super, super experimental. Me placing things on here when you're not really meant to, like all of these mods sort of intertwining. So that is something to sort of keep in mind. I do want to head back up to our home though. And let's see, can I interact with this? We can. So there is interaction here, and it does work with sophisticated storage. Aha, okay, so there we go. Functional storage will work and is a fantastic thing to use, by the way, whenever you're working within your world. But apparently on contraptions, while it does store items, you can't actually interact with the inventory. My goal with at least this house, though, was to get at least an iron farm in here and also have unlimited coal being produced within the ship. This is going to be helpful later on. If we go to build any other larger ships, we want to make sure that if we are making sustainable things, we want to make sure that we can power that ship indefinitely with those sustained items. Now, back to what I was doing, we have all of this iron now, right? So I can make as many hoppers as I need in order to upgrade these botany pots to hopping pots. So up here, I'll go ahead and place those in like this, all 5 of them, and then I have some dirt, so I should be able to place the dirt in here. And this does show like a hoe, but I don't know if we're going to need that per se, simply because we're just going to be farming logs. So if we place this in, the goal is that we see it up here. We don't see the dirt because it is using regions unexplored. I don't know if that's a special kind of dirt. But the goal is that this is getting larger, in which it definitely is slowly but surely getting larger, which once it's farmed should drop a few different things. And we can see the exact list here. We'll get a spruce log, some saplings, and also spruce leaves. Now for the next drawer, we're going to use, because we have 3 different items, might as well use a 3-slotted spruce barrel. And yes, this I actually want to place right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have all of these ingredients or these items piping into here, and that should keep all 3 items going into these slots. Of course, can't forget right here, we'll go ahead and turn these to make sure they're on extract. That's going to extract, and then this barrel up top here should just automatically hopper into here. Now, since we are using limited barrels and sophisticated storage, something cool that I want to show you is that these have default filtering built right in. You have these memory slot settings that you can access down here, and something cool you can do is you can click if you already have something in here, and that is going to remember that slot. And then you can also drag items in from JEI to force them to remember these items. And then you just close out of this tab and you're good to go. And you can see these items are already filtered, ready to go. Nothing else can go in those slots. And this is going to be pretty helpful for our next part of the automation, which is just getting these items in here. And we want to get logs in here. And I'm hoping that nothing else can go into these slots except for logs. And so this should try to split the logs between both sections, which I know is going to create some loss here, definitely at the bottom, because burning regular logs is not always the best thing to do. I would technically want to convert them into planks before using them, but this is already producing charcoal, and that's the primary thing that I want, is just a container of charcoal. And you know what? Something else that I probably should do is I'm just going to leave this one right here just to produce logs. And we can access the inventory in here, so we don't even have to worry about a drawer. And for that, I'll also use another limited barrel, just a regular one. And thankfully, inside of these, we can set this to automatically output, which will automatically send the coal down because these are smart furnaces. Now, something that'll help this small system produce even more is going to be fuel efficiency augment. And so we can click this into the actual furnace, and this should have it now in the augment section. And so it should help a little bit. So as you can see, it's going to slow down the cook time, which is not our problem at the moment. We don't need this to be fast. We need it to make sure that our wood lasts longer. And so this should effectively double the log's cook time, or I guess I should say fuel burn time, allowing it to smelt up to 3 items. So we have charcoal automated, and we also now have iron automated, but we don't have our ship moving anywhere yet. Sorry, I mean house moving anywhere yet. Now, thankfully, there's a lot of cool mods that are in here that make actually moving the house reasonable, and very, very reasonable at that. And we can simply do this by using Create Propulsion Simulated. The burner right here, the regular solid burner, is an incredibly powerful thing. Between this and also the liquid version of it, we're going to be using this quite a bit throughout this series, I think. But with the solid burner, you just give it fuel, and then you can place a Stirling generator right on top of this, and you'll get quite a bit of RPM off of this. You're going to get up to 256 RPM, which is what's needed to propel your thing, and you also get a controllable slider. So it's almost kind of like a creative motor in a way. However, you do need 2 blocks in order for this to activate. And the amount of stress that it puts out is enough to power some fans, which is very, very helpful. I think it puts out about 2048 stress, which is in create terms, like 4 large water wheels. Now, crafting these machines are going to require a bit more of the forge hammer, as this is one of the easier ways to do it, but the unfortunate thing is to make a singular sheet, you can see we have 39 here, and I use this, it's technically consuming 2 at a time. We can make this a little bit more efficient if, for example, we sacrifice about 20 iron, and we use this to make these large iron plates. So I can craft up some large iron plates here, make sure you don't accidentally make the railcraft stuff. And by doing this, we need about 5 of them, so I still need 2 more. So technically I needed like 40 of these because of, well, the fact that it does consume twice as much. But that's what we're about to solve. So it won't be doing that after we get all of these sheets made. So there we go. I now have these. That's the requirement for what I'm working on. And then we're going to use this to make a very special hammer. Yes, this hammer is going to then go into this slot right here. And now whenever we go to make a plate, we click it, it's just going to use 1 and use some of the durability off of the hammer. So I think in the long run, now that we have the iron farm, this is going to be well worth it. And see, I told you that modern industrialization was kind of nice to be in here. I mean, it makes getting the sheets really easy early game. And boy, am I going to need it, because we need to make at least 3 propellers, and I'm going to be using andesite propellers for right now. And it's honestly kind of amazing how cheap these things are to craft. Now, after I get them crafted, I am going to craft them one more time to turn them into wooden propellers. This is just a cosmetic change, but it is going to fit the style of our house, I think, much better. Along with this, I'm going to make a solid burner, and then the beautiful Stirling engine. And then finally, after that, a clutch. And this is going to show itself here in a minute why we need this. Now, another useful thing we're going to need is a couple of hand cranks. And this is because for now, I'm going to use hand cranks for manual turning. So before we start actually putting motors on here, we need to figure something else out. So by taking a look at our contraptions diagram, we can see this middle dot right here, and it's our center of mass. And this is important in where we actually put our propellers or anything that is going to propel our contraption forward. We roughly want the power to be pushing on the center of mass, which means that if we put a motor up top here, this is not going to be very good if we put it onto the balloon. That's going to force the contraption to rotate around its center point of mass, which is going to be the contraption's pivot point. And if you did that, it would just simply start flipping over and over and over again. We don't really want that. What we want is we want to put our power as close to the center of mass as possible. And so this is perfect. It's right near the roof line. And so we should be able to take some stairs up here and set the actual power right here on the center of mass. And so here's how I plan on setting this up. I want this to be the face of the house, so I want this to go this way. So we are going to place a solid burner here and then place our Stirling engine on the back. And you see on top of here, we have a slider. We can actually change the rotation direction, which is really nice. But we can also adjust the speed, not super fine tune it, but we can adjust it enough. And the fact that it spins up to 256 RPM is amazing. Now, we don't want this always spinning, so what we want is a clutch to go on here, and we actually want to give it a redstone signal in order to shut the clutch off. Then the only other thing left to do is to place the propeller onto the back, just like so. And this is directly on the overhang, so we could technically get rid of this. And I think that that looks kind of cool on the back. So let's give this a redstone signal, and then what we're going to do is just click this with coal, and that is going to start to heat the engine up, which is going to cause it to spin up. And as soon as I click this, we are going to see, are we going the correct direction? And yes, we are. And you can see that we are actively moving. So I can shut the engine off just by simply clicking this button. But now this leads me into how are we going to turn this thing? And for now, I'm going to use some shafts off the side. Let's see, we probably want these rotated. I think I have my great wrench on here. Perfect. We can use that rotational menu to change the axis, and then we'll carry this on. I want these to go out a few blocks before we place some sort of wood platform, and I think I want this facing out this direction, somewhere like this. Perfect. And then we can place the propeller on here. So let me grab my wrench. I just want it placed on here if I can. I guess we could use the rotation menu here to also help this out. So let's see. That actually doesn't look half bad, but I think I want it going the other direction. So we'll have this going north instead. Perfect. Because of the create rotate thing, we don't have to actually worry too much about the direction we place it, because we can just place it just like so, and it's going to work just fine. Look at that. So with these sticking out like a sore thumb, I can place in some hand cranks, and this should allow me to rotate our contraption. So for example, I want to go this direction, so I can hold down shift, and that should start to pull the contraption in a certain direction. Or I can use this one, you can see, and I'm rotating the entire ship. That is kind of cool, allowing me to kind of change the direction per se. And you know what? We do have create bits and bobs in here, so we could make this a little bit cooler looking. For example, I can get rid of my hand cranks that are off to the side here, and instead place these flanged cogwheels. You can just use regular cogwheels, really doesn't matter. And what I'm going to do is click it with some chain and then click back, and that is going to create a chained linked connection. This is so sick looking. Okay, so flange cogwheel on the other side. We'll link that, link it back, and now we can actually just put our hand cranks right here. allowing us to be like more in a centralized cockpit area, allowing me to maybe stand up here and actually see our rotation a little bit better. And you can see we're kind of going in these directions. Like I can pick and choose where I want to go. I mean, overall, this is pretty sick. And I'm just overly ecstatic. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but the fact that we are doing this in the first place is mind-boggling to me. This is something that I've like wanted from like contraptions for a really long time in Create. And I felt like it was one of the biggest things with Create. You wanted to do these cool things, but you couldn't do them like this. Like, for example, you may have wanted to have a house that was on a cart contraption or a train, but, well, unfortunately, you couldn't use any of the things while it was contraptioned. But with this, you can. And now that I have my fuel source actively being generated down here, I mean, this only allows us to now start traveling. And what I really want to look for is a mountain ridge. I kind of want a ridge maybe leading off to the side of an ocean somewhere. I want something that I could technically use to build like a sky yard. And I want to use this to sort of get us there. And so let's go ahead and fill this up with some charcoal. That'll get that spinning. And we'll go ahead and activate this. And this is going to start propelling us forward. And what I really need to do is hop down here into the control seat and make sure this takes us as high as possible so we don't accidentally run into a mountain or anything, which definitely could happen. I mean, this is so good. I mean, just look at the house moving. How sick is that? This is so neat. Now, as the captain of this house, I will say there is a little bit of a problem where you can see our ship is technically rotating in one direction. Like instead of just going straight, it is rotating. So I think that might be fixable by adding more drag to this side of the house, or potentially adding more drag to this side, because I think what's happening is all of this down here is sort of dragging the ship and forcing it to turn. So I have a plan. I have a plan to be able to get this to work. So you have regular wind cells. These do provide lift to these contraptions, but we want to produce drag, and we want to use the drag to rotate the direction whenever we start moving forward. To do this, we can use a symmetrical cell instead of a regular cell. And this is something really, really cool. So I've made a steering wheel and a regular mechanical bearing, and I'm hoping that I can get these to separate themselves off of this base contraption, allowing me to put a cell basically in the front of the ship up here. So I'm pretty nervous about this because I want these to technically be separated from each other. So let's go ahead and try to line this up. I'm going to place some blocks down. I want a mechanical bearing to be facing upward. Let's see. We'll face this up like this. And then what we want is probably to have this only place anchor when destroyed. And then wherever we click the steering wheel, it's going to interface into the actual shaft. This is pretty neat. So you can see it is now interfaced into the shaft. And whenever we rotate this, whatever's up here should also rotate. Now I do need to give this a base for it to sort of stand on. So for now, I'm going to place a fence right here, and then I can break all of this away from it. Perfect. Okay, now what I want is to place a sail that is going to run down the center of this. Let's see, we can place it like so. And I almost want this to be sort of like a rudder that is going into the front, like so. So now whenever I rotate this, it should allow us to sort of define the direction. And I'm hoping whenever I do rotate it, that it does. And you can see that I can adjust the steering angle right here just by changing this. Oh, that's perfect. And if you hold shift, it's going to snap to 45-degree increments. Okay, so now that we have this and we have this rudder with some drag, if I was to give this some power here, what I'm hoping to see is that I can get this to actually fly straight. So let's change the direction, maybe like this ever so slightly. And I just want it to be enough to sort of fight the base direction that it's going in. That is really all I need. And I may be able to now see our drag on the actual piece of paper over here while it's actively flying. So we can see the drag on this, and if we rotate it, we can now see we have some drag force that we are kind of enacting onto the entire thing. I mean, think of how like massive sailboats work. Essentially, that's what I have placed up here is a sail. A sail that allows the air force that is coming in to blow over this to force it in a certain direction. And so we're essentially, instead of taking air from the back, we are taking air from the front. So for this, at about 20 degrees, we are, I believe, no longer going sideways. No, and so that means I can push this forward to get our entire ship to point in a straight direction, and we'll just continue on so long as we have coal. This is so good. Oh yeah, and to match the rest of our ship, we might as well dye this, and we should be able to dye these. I think, though, we have to dye them while they are not in their contraption state, which we could do by taking this down. I think we have to break this, though, which will pop the cells off. That's kind of a problem, isn't it? Always place, maybe only place when near initial angle. And now, when it's near its initial angle, perfect. I can go in here and dye them all red. Okay, so I think I have found somewhere we can go ahead and drop down here onto our ship's main control, can land in the fire, of course, and we can control our descent here. And we know that roughly around 350 or so, I believe. It may actually be a little bit higher than that, like 370. Should get us pretty close to the ground. As long as we know what number that is to get us close to the ground, will allow us to pop down and just simply grab anything we want from any of the surrounding areas. Like, for example, there's another waystone. And I do have a waystone on me, so I still have the ability to get back into my ship. Just so long as that remains chunk loaded, it shouldn't be a problem. There we go. Look at that. Now we're waystone farming. So since we're down here doing some farming, I do want to show you something. So this currently says unidentified diamond pickaxe. And we found this pickaxe last episode. And so the reason it's unidentified is because we haven't hit Control and T yet to pull up our menu. So this is going to open up Apotheosis. And currently we have now activated it after going through the tutorial. But we have to complete certain milestones before we can level up to the next level. But because we did this and we hit Control T, I can now see exactly what this is. So we get a plus 2.5 on block interaction range. And then on this, it is a fortunate leather tunic, which gives us plus luck. Stuff like that. So now we can actually see what these bonuses are from these Apothic armor pieces and tools. Now, something I can do as I'm stopping my ship, because we don't really have a standard home just yet, is while the ship is currently stopped, I can do set home. And now we have this home location set. And so what I should be able to do is at least type /home. And we end up right here. So long as the ship is stopped. Because I don't believe it saves the position necessarily on the ship. It saves it in the air position that you were at. Meaning if it wasn't here, you would just fall to the ground. Which isn't bad because I do have slime boots. But I just want to be able to jump off the ship and do some exploring. For example, I can leave the ship all the way up in the air and get back there, and I shouldn't have any problems doing so. This should prevent me from losing the ship, so that way I can come out to things like this, for example, and grab any loot from these chests. Maybe there's something fancy that we can get. Look at that. I got source gems, ender pearls that time. I mean, all of these things are definitely worth grabbing. Look at this special. For example, we have an Ars Nouveau. I think this is actually an Ars Edition structure that almost has an Ars portal in here, which also has some scrolls. And look at that, some source stone. An explorer's map that should take us to some sort of special location. We might have to test that out here in a minute. It's supposed to take us to a structure, I think. This one doesn't have any chests. So I guess this would be the moment of truth. I'm kind of scared to use this as it could warp us anywhere, but let's use it. And it took me to another Wilden Den. And I have no idea how far I am, but thankfully we have the home command, so getting back should be doable. I'm just going to pop up here again. Oh boy. Yep, and just clear these guys out like I did last time. Just slow, methodical, just taking them out. One by one. Come on, there we go. And looky there, after opening another chest, I got the Sentinel trophy for just opening a ton of different containers. Oh, perfect. We got another backpack out of a loot chest. Now that I've done even more looting here, what we can do is try the /home. And which I did end up going through the wall, but thankfully we were on the upper floor. And so going through the wall still landed me back on the ship, which is always nice. And then also we could set a waystone at like spawn to potentially get back here through a waystone, which seems like a much better method. And with that, onward I say! Onward! Any faster? Onward! Let's go! Can't you go faster? Just a little bit faster now. We'll get there. Slowly. Another Ars tower? Yes. Let's actually head this direction. So I can counter this by technically steering in the opposite direction. And notice my ship is actually turning that direction. So these would be more for rotating the ship in like directly. That now that we have a cell, I can just completely rotate this as needed anytime I want. Oh, and it looks like another major ship off in the distance. More wool. Yes, even more wool will be good. And since I found my counter steer, which is about 21 degrees, this is beautiful. This is working so well. Now just keep this in mind. All of this has been done without even getting any brass from Create. This is all doable like pretty early on. Like I did this within the first 2 episodes of here, and I've barely done any mining. So I can only imagine how wild this is going to get once we start getting into more things like steam engines and we start getting more infrastructure from other mods. This is just the beginning. Oh man, I've got to be really careful going down here. These are shark infested waters. Look at that guy. But moment of truth, I hope that I get really lucky here. There's a chance, like I said, that we could find a pre-set up Ars gear. Like I said though, the chances are pretty slim, and also this one doesn't seem to have any. It is always worth checking, however. I wonder how bad this is going to be. Like, it can't be that bad, right? Oh, I did not mean to jump into the water. Oh, I hope there's a way up. Is there a ladder? Is there some way to get up? I don't want to be in the water right now. Oh boy, there are serpents here. It could be kind of bad. Actually, this could be kind of nice, because I might actually be able to just mine right on in. Hello. I mean, yeah, all of you guys just stumble on out, and I'll actually get away. I'll go to the other side. Oh, there are sharks though. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. There are sharks, but I think they all just abandoned ship. So that means this ship is now mine and I can take it, right? Yeah, that's exactly what this means. Oh, there's a lot of spawners. Oh my goodness. Time to go home. That's what the home command's for. I don't know what hit me. That was an evoker. That was a lot more on that ship than I thought there was. So with that in mind, I'm just going to fly all the way up here and I'm just going to steal their sails. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to come after me? They're going to try and take their sails back? No, I'm going to take them all. Oh, there's definitely illusioners on the ship though. Yes. Give me all of your wool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So as much of this as I can grab will be kind of nice, and the goal would be for me to be able to get off the ship while also grabbing it, which should, you know what, I should make a magnet. I think that would be also kind of helpful. Yeah, we should definitely make this. So this will go inside of my charm slot, and I can use a keybind to toggle the magnet on and off, which should make collecting this wool a little bit easier, and we should be able to actually pick up the wool, even if it's down on the lower deck levels. Let's just see. Can I get down here and potentially avoid? Yep, the illusioner. Okay, that's good. Perfect. My goodness, though, I am now gathering quite a bit of wool, and this is going to be very helpful. Like, this is one of the many ways you can get wool. I don't think these guys know what has hit them, though. They have just lost most of their ship in a matter of seconds. Like I said, if wool was a worry for you for building something like this, you find wool literally everywhere throughout the world. And with all of that looting that I've done, well, inventory space is really starting to become quite limited, and so I think it's probably time that we start focusing on maybe upgrading that a little bit, but I still want to find like a place to call home before we start diving into any sort of permanent storage solution. Oh my goodness, I think I found it. Oh, this whole cove area is going to work phenomenally. Wait. Yes, I've got to turn the ship. Turn the ship. We've got to make way this way. Hold up. We've got to turn. Start the turning process. Oh yeah, that is amazing looking from a distance. And I can only imagine what it's going to look like when we get closer. Oh, it's even better than I thought now that it's all starting to come into view. There's like a channel that runs through here. This, I can already see developing a shipyard, a flying shipyard. Oh, this will be so sick. But yes, this is probably what is going to end up turning into a base. And I would assume that there may be a ancient city potentially underneath this, with this being such a big mountain. There might even be an ancient city underneath this mountain too, like a dual ancient city. Just judging by the mountains, since they do spawn under there, there's at least a high chance. When there's even a massive entrance into this, what looks like a cave. Now imagine this sort of cave idea, or this like plan for this whole area right here. Imagine Treasure Planet themed. If you've ever seen the movie Treasure Planet, you understand. If you haven't seen the movie, you should definitely watch it. It is one of my favorites. Definitely a fantastical adventure ride, that movie is. But the idea, it'd be so cool to sort of build like a shipyard, similar to kind of what you see in the movie, and maybe make some ships, maybe ones that don't necessarily have cells, but we could definitely make a shipyard that does certain tasks. We have ships that do certain things, may not even use ships for everything. I would just really love to build the base along the edge of this mountain. This is beautiful. There's even like a perfect platform over here for like some sort of building that could maybe go there, like that raises up out of the water in connection with all of this. Okay, I'm starting to overthink and overplan. The idea though, this is probably going to be home. I mean, honestly, just think about this for a second. We made it here on a flying house. This shouldn't even be possible in Minecraft. I'm slowly losing my mind thinking about all of this. And this is going to be perfect. I mean, look at the wildlife. I mean, very vivid wildlife. Okay, I've got my head wrapped around this whole place. I want to try and get my ship maybe as close as I can up to this edge over here. I think that might be a good idea. We can kind of rotate the ship, get it going in this direction, and maybe dock it up, get it about level with that tree height area over here. And this is where these really come in handy. Like, of course, we could steer our ship if we were going in a straight line, but if we just want to rotate in position, this is like one of the best ways to do this. Look at that. We can even force stop it right here. Oh, this is such a cool mod. Like out of all the mods I've played with as of recently, and it's not even the main mod, it's an add-on for a mod. It's just blows my mind. And this too is only the like aerospace side of this mod, because you can also make land vehicles. There's wheels, there's all kinds of other cool goodies. Now I'm slowly descending. Yes, this is looking even better than I thought. Now got the ship pretty much docked up and ready to go. We've just got to give it a little bit of a boost forward. And I think that will hit. Well, we're very close to hitting the wall. Give it a little bit more, and we are right there. Like, we are a step away. I think at this point we are now actually hitting the building. So let's run on down here, and I can just hop out the front door onto land from our floating airship. Yep, this is something. The only real thing for me to do would be to come over here and maybe start torching things up as we see fit. Oh man, this is a massive cave system. All right, we already have enemies. No, you do not. Stay away, fiend. Yes. Get rid of all of these guys, making sure there's no creepers that are going to fall on me. That would be kind of bad. Thankfully, though, our bed is set, and we should respawn in our airship if we were to happen to die. But this just keeps getting better and better. There's a giant hole that leads down into a massive cave system. Oh, beautiful. And just in case you're playing along and you want to know the exact coordinates to this location, there you go, right there on the mini-map. You're checking out some of the surrounding areas. Yes, I can confirm this is going to be a beautiful starting location. And we have to start worrying about storage. That is going to be a big thing coming up next. And if you haven't already clicked that subscribe button, be sure to do so you don't miss out on future episodes, just like the next one. And also be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed today's episode and potentially learned something new. I will say it is time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode, and that huge thanks is going to go out to Evilitis. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. And guys, I look forward to seeing you over on my Discord also, just to chill and hang out and chat. I love doing that. And if you got any questions, it's a great place to ask them. So guys, without further ado, I'll see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.